So hey guys, it's time for another Halloween themed video. And this time, if I'm getting my recordings right, you're actually going to see my sad attempt at an Inktober. Um, I had plans to do Inktober, and my life just. I know, it's like the 15th when I'm recording this. I don't really know when the video is going to go up. I know it's in October sometime, but I don't know exactly when. But I decided early on that I'm like, I just don't have time for Inktober. I really wish I did. A lot of people make time for it, but they don't have as many like side things as I do and a couple other people do. So it's like it's hard to do Inktober on top of that and then like stress about it. So I'm like, I'm not gonna stress about it. And so in the background you're gonna be seeing my one Inktober piece that once I do get it scanned in, I will have the original for sale in my Etsy, and I will have the actual charm as a charm in my store when I have money to order charms again, because you guys know me and my potion aesthetics. So I'm already rambling on. That isn't about the topic of the video, but the topic of the video is traditions. And more so, I'm focusing on Halloween traditions because Halloween is my favorite time of year, and just getting to know me a little better. This isn't exactly an art topic video, just a random little spewing my thoughts, topic-y topic that doesn't have to do with art. So now my family, we didn't really do Halloween besides the basic American things, the giving out candy, carving pumpkins, and costumes. My mom didn't really decorate. I mean, we kind of did, but it was usually towards like the end of Halloween, and it was the front of the house, never like really inside. We would watch movies and shows on TV, and we would have the themed, Pillsbury cookies that you would get, the really good crack sugar cookies, and all that stuff, and it was great. And it's just how I grew up, and I always loved the Halloween season because in my little goth heart, as a wee one, it was like the one time that I felt like I can wear spooky things. I can watch things that are spooky and scary, and other people are, and I'm not weird, and people won't make fun of me. And then they made fun of me anyway. But the joys of being a bullied kid. And I remember being always excited because, these traditions would pop up. Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network and stuff would always play all the Halloween reruns. I don't know if they still do this because, like, I don't have cable, and I haven't watched cable in years, so I don't know if they still do that. But I remember they would do, like, all the reruns and all the classics, and, we would have the, like, Disney Channel original Halloween movies. I freaking loved those growing up, like Halloween Town, Twitches, Under Wraps, I think it's like What's Under the Bed, or the Boogeyman one, and no, Under Wraps is the mummy one. But anyway, I loved those. They were my jam, man. And same with like the Scooby Doo movies, the pretty much the staple classics in the 90s and the early 2000s. But also like the Ghoul School and the Werewolf and all of that stuff. But on top of horror movies, but I mean, I watch those year round anyway. But I loved the aesthetic because growing up in California, at least in where I lived, we never really got seasons. It got kind of colder, but it was still very common that on Halloween night it would be like 90 degrees out, and we didn't really get fall colors like other people did. And it was a good time. It was a fun time. Family was together. And then for me, a lot of it changed when my grandma got sick. I haven't talked about this a lot on my channel, and I'm willing to talk about it more now and stuff. And I don't want to make like a full video on it because it's kind of depressing, but my grandmother got Alzheimer's and dementia. She got the double whammy. It's usually rare. I usually get one or the other, but she got both. And growing up in that, because she started getting sick right around when I was 13ish. Yeah, right around 13. And it sucked because shortly after that time, and another thing too is I was young, so I had a lot of resentment for my grandma because of other things. And my grandma was not the best person in general, but you don't understand it fully as a kid than you do as an adult, especially when, you've seen things and they're also no longer with us. And I remember being angry and upset because my little brothers who were younger than me, they had to suffer a lot more than I did because um, my mom had her have like a care person for a long time, but there was a point where couldn't afford it. You couldn't afford a care person, and my mom didn't want to put her in a home. And so we had to take care of her. And so it became a thing where when we would have what little traditions we had to stop. They had to stop because it would make her freak out. And it gave me and my brothers such resentment for my grandma because it was like, yeah, we were Jewish and stuff, but it's like we would have to, like, if we wanted to do the menorah or if we wanted to do Christmas, we'd have to like hide it in our own house. We couldn't decorate the little things we could. We couldn't watch movies together in the living room like we could. And it held a lot of resentment and a lot of hatred for a long time. And it wasn't until I got older that, I realized why that was happening, because she would freak out. She would like lose it. And as a little kid, you don't get that. But as an adult, it's like, oh, well, no shit, she lost it. It's like when you have Alzheimer's and dementia, you could be waking up and thinking that you're 16 and it's springtime, and here people are watching Halloween movies and your house is decorated differently than you know it. It's one of those things that when you look at it in hindsight, it makes a lot of sense, but as a kid, you just don't get it. And so it really sucked for a long time. We would still go trick-or-treating, but that was kind of it. And we always had to, like, hide, you know what I mean? Like, when we wanted to leave, someone had to, like, distract my grandma so we could, like, go and trick-or-treat, and my little brothers could experience the things. And if we wanted to watch those specials, we had to watch, like, upstairs in our room with the sound low, because, if you hear spooky, scary skeletons, it would make grandma go nuts. And it was always it was a very depressing time, and it really sucked. And so it was around that time that I tried making new traditions with some of my friends, and so did my parents. We tried doing new things, so we started going to like mazes, and stuff like that, and doing things around there, and taking my brothers to like trunk or treats, which I'm really happy more trunk or treats are coming around now, because some parents just don't want to take their kids trick-or-treating. That's a whole other rant I don't want to get into. I don't want to rant in this video, but but it became a point to me that October was a time for movies, because that was like the one thing I could do consistently that I couldn't be let down on. So like every year I have like this list of movies that I always watch, and it like just, it brings me back to those good kid vibes, and it gets me in the fall spirit, because walking around California and Anaheim and stuff, you don't feel it. You see the decorations, but you don't feel it like you do in movies and shows and atmosphere and stuff like that. And another thing too about living in a tiny apartment is when wanting to get decorations, we got to pick and choose what we want, because it's like, okay, what can we fit in the storage that is our tiny house? We can't just like go all out like we would like to, because we have to be like, okay, what can fit in a bin in the closet for the rest of the year? But it's another thing why I'm really grateful that I have an amazing husband as I do, because like we got married in October, so that's a whole new tradition I get to experience every October 22nd for the rest of my life, is that we get to have like a spoopy anniversary. And by the way, I love the word spoopy, so hopefully you don't mind me just saying it and rambling off, but it makes me happy. And another thing too was I remember back in high school, I kind of got like a little bit back into trick-or-treating. It was technically adult, but one of my best friends at the time was still in high school, and she wanted to go trick-or-treating, so we'd go like trick-or-treating, I'd say, for about 4 years after that. So like I got to experience adult trick-or-treating, which, by the way, if you are a young adult, totally say go for it, as long as you're in costume. Don't be one of those jerks that, you just dress up in normal clothes and have a backpack and be like, hey, can I have some candy? No one likes that guy. Don't be that guy. And you don't have to go all out either, but just try. Heck, do makeup, do masks. Like you'll see people do cosplay too, which is also great, and all that kind of stuff. But I've gotten to a point in my little old bones. I'm old. I'm not old. I'm turning 27, right? Yes. I'm turning 27 this year. And, it's like I've gotten to a point where I've realized, like, you got to make your own traditions. Sometimes when things fall apart, you have to do it and do the things that make you happy. Do the things that make you feel like this is this time of year. It's why like I love I'm a basic bitch. I love pumpkin spice lattes. You know, I love pumpkin spice everything, but I love that it's just in October and November. I don't want it year round. Could we get it year round? Yeah, but I don't want it year round. I like being like, this is fall, pumpkin everything. You know, this is fall, we get the special cookies, this is blah, blah, blah. You know, I love that about it is because it feels more like the season and it feels like the year's coming to an end. And another thing too is, if you guys don't know, I consider myself a witch. And, witch, pagan, whatever. I'm not that strict on labels. And so, like, it's also a very spiritual time for me, too, now, where it didn't really used to be. It used to just be like, oh, this is candy and spooky and yay. But now it's like, it's a time of, like, warmth and togetherness. And it's when me and my husband got married and it's when we did that. And it's also time that you see, like, all this great themed art. I love, like, I know I was talking about Inktober at the beginning, but I love seeing these Inktobers. I love seeing what people do with these monochromatic color schemes. I love seeing the Halloween themed YouTube videos. I love seeing the specials. It brings me back and be like, yes, it's October. It's time to get spoopy. But besides mine being mostly movies and getting some special treats here and there, what traditions do you guys like doing in the holidays? And it's gonna be any holiday. It doesn't have to be October. What are like things that you did, or what were traditions that you loved, but for certain reasons you couldn't do anymore? I love reading those comments. So, everything I used will be linked in the description down below, and obviously check out my other social medias with my Linktree link. It'll take you to all those good places. And as always, guys, have a great spoopy season, and I will see you next time. Bye.